Okay, I did a recent video here on Birdman of Siberia, showing you an ancient shaman that had a bird type outfit on with all these bird skulls on it and things like that. And it showed an ancient shamanistic type of belief system that was going on in Proto-Europeans somewhere close to about 8,000 BC or so, 8,000, 8,400 BC. And I've tried to show you in a bunch of the other previous videos how people in elder times had bird cults. And it shows and echoes all the way through to a modern time today. Hopefully I can show you some connections that'll help to show it to you. Um, I considered myself lucky, as I've described a few of the things whenever I was a kid that I kind of come up with my mind and just set me to search. And everything that keeps happening almost seems to happen for a reason. It's odd, and it's in my face constantly, whether it's in ads or videos or in symbolism that you find in one place or another, and even in movies where you wouldn't think there would be anything whatsoever having to do with this, it seems to be embedded in it in a few different ways. And so I'm going to try to make some connections that'll help to show some of these things to you. This Birdman concept, again, is extremely old. And we see it going from ideas like, vulture symbolism is one of the oldest ones at all, because this vulture would take dead bodies and go way up into the sky, and you know how they swirl around in the circles, and the people believed that it was taking them to heaven, or taking that body to the sky god himself, and that they were controlled by him. And indeed, most of these birds are connected with this sky god, and of course messengers of the gods, and owls and things that you see in all these movies and magic movies and things like that. So I'm going to see if we can make some connections, and hopefully you've been looking at this picture right here. This is from South America. And if I told you that this was really exactly a mimic of the Sumerian effigy, meaning the exact same thing in a slightly different caricature, you could probably see it. You could also probably see he's holding up two lightning bolts or snakes, one in each hand, side by side, just like we see in so many other depictions of goddesses holding them and so on, right? Quite often these goddesses are winged, as is Inanna in her shots that you see of her, and others. Quite often they'll, even though they're a bird, they'll have horns on their head, or sometimes antler type things, which are again a horn type symbology that goes with it. And recently I did a video showing these ancient deer heads that were more Western in Proto-Indo-Europeans back in extreme ancient times, and it shows you that shamanism there in Seronos, and where the idea of the stag and the satyrs and these people of the woods and all of that came from. But it runs all the way through to these people here, even in a different continent. And they even have the exact same symbology. There are times whenever you'll find the six-winged versus the four-winged creature. You'll find a two-winged creature, much looking like an angel, or any bird that you'd see. It's mentioned in the Epic of Gilgamesh at the very end, and then what the person is supposed to have been turned into. And you can see that a lot of people had this exact same symbology that seemed to connect. They all had this same idea going on. And you can't relegate it to the idea, well, they grew up on Earth and there's birds and blah. No, because there's too much other things attached to it, and too much things that are exactly alike. So we see this antler type form, and it even appears to have waters up in it over here at the top. Other people have said, these three things right here, there's not really any over here, and these are like the three pyramids, and these are this, these are that, so it all adds up to a certain type of symbology. Now, I've gone to Pinterest here, and hey, if somebody can tell me how to go back to Google Image and have it not do that new format, then whenever I try to zoom in or anything on a shot, it just goes all crazy, please let me know, because it's disgusting and ruining everything, and I can't seem to make it used like I used to do. Let's continue. So you can find in South America a lot of these bird effigies, and here we see a man, just looks like a man, but his nose is extremely hooked. And you see this hooked nose effigy all the way through a lot of the gods that are hooked up with this same concept. And here we can definitely see his bird wing that he has hooked up, like he's holding out one wing, right? And it's not just here, but you find this effigy of this falcon type god with this bird hook nose concept in Sumeria with the wings on it, just like that, in this same exact suit. In that same exact suit, a long coat, a curl edge, in this same exact suit. Now let me just go back here for a second and show you that in that same trimmed suit, it comes down in the fringed effigy, you find this. This shows elder contact that people cannot deny and just dismiss off, but it's only one of 1,000 things that you could show, and just one thing that you could pick out is this Birdman effigy that you can find from places like India, all the way through the Orient, being a rooster type of man in this effigy you see here, all the way up here to Garuda in Indonesia, which looks almost like a pterodactyl dragon type, but definitely with the wings going on. And people say, well, there's no Birdman in Egypt or anything. And oh man, you're not paying attention. Thoth himself is a Birdman. Horus himself is a Birdman. Isis herself is a bird woman. The effigies I show you of before that with the woman, the ballerina effigy, is a woman holding her arms up, doing a bird type symbol. It all connects back to this same type of concept and spawns into what we have developed into religions. And the religions were gods of the earth, and then they were the gods of the sky. And I keep referring to this. Maybe you can see how easy it goes whenever everybody's animalistic, and then everybody goes bird crazy about heaven and how people are going to go to heaven. And where is heaven? Well, there you go. And where do these birds go? And they have the ability to do this. Man can conquer everything and conquers the world, but man can't fly. And so that's magical. That's something God had set up for him. It's one of the ways that whenever you look around and you realize that it's raining from the sky, and that the sky and the waters, and if it rained a whole bunch, that would flood, i.e. Bible stories and ancient Sumerian stories, then therefore that God controls a lot of what's going on. He gets mad, lightning happens, all of these type of things that come out of storm gods and bird effigies, and this concept that's just intertwined. Here is the symbol for sky in ancient Egypt. And so Horus, whenever he gets in his great boat and goes across the sky and through the waters of the Milky Way, has the opening of the mouth, and it receives in his hand a new life and a new day on a horizon that comes from the underworld. You know, you can sit and just go like that, and that's not what those hieroglyphics mean, and I'll damn well tell you that is what that means. It's a symbolic situation. It's a rebirth situation. You find it over in ancient temples, Angkor Wat, through India, and things of this Birdman, and the stories of the Birdman in New Jersey, and all these things, and Mothman, and things that come out of these ideas, and you don't think it's more modern, but oh, it definitely has it. You can see the hooked talons and the claw feet that he has standing on the creatures, just like Inanna. And this is that same concept of effigy here going on. When we look at these ancient Sumerian pictures, we can see Horus, we can see an Indian headdress, we can see winged angels, if you will, and we can see a sacred god holding his handbag with his pine cone, fertilizing the tree of life. And here I go again with that damn Johnny Appleseed thing. Here we go. And you don't think it's all over the place, but even on Easter Island, they have these Birdmen gods that are worshipped right around this ancient volcanic thing. And I tell you about ancient volcanic worship too, and things that went along with it. And you start to put a few of these together, and carry over some time, and you'll get symbology turning into a deeper and deeper meaning, especially when you start to attach it to real things that are going on. And as above, so below, you get effigies, or even Moa type statues have been found with this bird effigy on it and the gods. And people have connected it to Orion on its side and how it connects all to it. That could be a bird symbology, the great bird that some of these people talk about. But what's amazing too about the zodiac is that Leo seems to be always the Leo, you know? Yeah. And Aquarius is always a person, and it seems in most all effigies, Orion is a man and a hunter, but a bird or a birdman in some concepts. Huh. Let's continue. I'm just going here through these pictures. Here you can see an ancient artifact that shows you a man, and under his arm are his wings. Yeah. Ancient Americas. Now let's see if I'd make another connection for you here. This man has a ring in his hand, which seems to be glowing like the sun. He has bird wings onto him, right? He has bird feet onto him, right? He has an antler set mask upon his head that looks just like the antler thing that we were looking at the other day, though it's a bird. Is this meant to be a bird crest? It's an antler set. So, do these things go together? Yes. They all go together, for it's all the force of the creatures of nature and blah, blah, blah. It all has the same concepts that go with it. Why can't it be connected? Here's his little hook nose, and he's a bird guy, and you can tell that he's wearing this as a mask, right? Ancient shamans, and that's a cool plate. It's not a plate you could put anything on, it's got holes in it. It's an intricately carved effigy in the Americas of the same type stuff we've been looking at over in the old world. Let's continue. So there's that Sumerian again with his wings and his basket and his concept and the followers of Shimsu Hor and these ancient proto-Sumerians that had come and mingled with the locals that were actually in Egypt and helped to form it. And you find that with being Horus and so on. And here's another one for you. Osiris is always depicted as the god that had brought them grains, and we know now to this day that all the Immer grains actually came from Sumeria, and the farmers there that had cultivated and genetically got it much stronger than it originally was, and the wild plant forms, and the Anatolian people, so did the cattle and everything. And you see Hathor and things like that showing up right off the bat, and it kind of shows you that this right off the bat kaboom thing really wasn't